First step to create part 16, we're going to go and make a new sketch. This sketch we're going to create on our XY plane. The first part of 16, we're going to create a rectangle. Get that rectangle drawn in there, and the dimension for this rectangle, we've got 8 inches of width, and over here we have 1.5 inches of height. We're going to get our dimension tool. We're going to select this line, set our dimension down here on the bottom, set it to 8. We're going to zoom back out using zoom all. Over here on the side, we're going to zoom out a little bit more. We're going to make that 1.5 tall. Now we have our rectangle created, and I'm going to go ahead and sketch on top of this rectangle some of these details. We're going to sketch first these 2 notches, and then we'll come back and we'll put these circles in. So first thing, this notch is 1.5 inches by 0.75 to this first point. We're going to go ahead and get that drawn in here. So we get a line starting over here, come this way. That line, the distance from that line to the bottom line is 0.75, and it's 1 inch long. Okay, that's our first line here. We're going to go back to our drawing. Up at the top, we connect to the top corner, and it's 1.5 inches in distance. So starting from this end point to here, and we're going to dimension from the end point, which we're going to see highlighted in white, to that end, and that's 1.5. Okay, we're going to repeat that process over here. So first, I'm going to draw those lines in. Line. I've got a circle tool there. Here we go. Line. Line. Dimension. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a match dimension feature. So we're going to dimension from this line to this line. I'm going to select this dimension to copy and hit enter. I'm going to go from this point to this end. Select this dimension to copy and hit enter. We're going to go from this point to that point. Select that dimension to copy and hit enter. You notice we have a little problem here where this line is not touching here. We'll use a coincident constraint to align those. You may not need to do that. I think I wasn't real careful when I clicked that. Alright, that gets the outline done. Next step is we're going to come into the front. We're going to draw these 3 circles. So the first thing is we'll just draw the circles, dimension their diameter, and then we'll come back and set the distance to the edges. So 3 circles. Each one has a diameter of 0.79. So circle, circle, circle. Dimension. We'll dimension the first one. 0.79. We're going to use the match dimension option again here. I'm going to go up here, select my first dimension, and match it. Here, select my first dimension, and match it. Now, next thing we need is the height of the circles, and we'll do circle 1 first. So this circle, it looks like it aligns with our 0.75 dimension here. The center line of the circle shares a common line with the top of this notch. So 0.75. We're going to dimension from the center point of that circle to the bottom edge of the part. And we're going to put that right there. And we're going to zoom in a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually match it to here. Check mark. Notice that moved our circle up. Now we're going to repeat that here. And we're going to match that dimension. Repeat it here. And again, match our 0.75 dimension. Alright, that gets the height of our circle set. The next thing is we have 3 dimensions that chain from the end. From the end to the first center point is 2.5. Between each circle is 1.5. So, starting at the end, we're dimensioning from the end to the center point, and that's 2.5. from the center point to the next center point, 1.5, and from this center point to that center point is 1.5. Okay, that gets our chain dimension in location. We got all 3 circles done. At this point, we're a little bit cluttered. I probably could have moved some of these dimensions, spread them out, but we have all of our dimensions in for this front view. We're going to finish our sketch. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. We can see that. We're going to extrude, double check our thickness. Here in our top view, we see our thickness is 0.75. We're going to extrude and for that tool to wake up. There we go. When we extrude and we select, we want to give it a second to give us a preview, make sure we don't get those corners. Change our depth to 0.75. There we go. There's the front view of our actuator control panel. Now, next step, we're going to go in and we're going to create holes. To match the top view of our drawing, we have 2 holes on the top, and we have 2 holes in the front. One thing we notice about the holes in the top is that we have a dimension between the centers of the holes. We don't have a dimension for how far they are from the ends. We do notice that they're in between the center lines of these 2 holes. So we're going to go in here, we're going to create a sketch to create those dimensions. We're going to go here and we're going to do a new sketch. Now what I'm going to do on this sketch is I want to project the geometry of these holes. So I have a line here, 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 and on this time I'm projecting just those lines. Finish that sketch. If you look at that in the top view, we'll see that we have the lines projected that match up with these dashed lines on our drawing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up here we've got 6 projected lines. Okay, so now we should be able to come in here and create our holes. Each hole is 0.19 in diameter, and these ones on the end go all the way through. These ones in the middle have a depth of 0.75. So we'll start with these ones on the end. Using the hole tool, we're going to switch our placement to linear. Then, put it right here for now. Our first hole is going to be over here. Through all, we have a depth or a diameter of 0.19. Checking our drawing, our center is 0.375 and 0.5. So reference 1, this edge, 0.375. And we'll get in there and we'll decimal point. And then reference 2, this edge should be 0.5. Okay, first hole. We're going to repeat, do an identical hole on this side. Linear. And we'll go here. We'll do 0.19. Reference 1, it's bottom edge. 0.375. Reference 2, end line, 0.5. Alright. Sounds like somebody's got a birthday next door. Okay, our next 2 holes are going to show up in this location and in this location. Now on our drawing we see them here and here. The only thing that's really changed here is they're 1.5 between each other and they're exactly in this space. So let's go back here and start making those holes. Hole tool. We're going to, once again, we're going to go with linear. And we want 1 hole here. And we want a second hole. Well, we're going to switch gears. We're going to actually go back to our sketch. And we're going to put these holes in on the sketch. I think it will be easier for this one. Alright, so we're going to create 2 circles to make these holes. We're going to put 1 here. We're going to put 1 here. Okay, both circles have a diameter of 0.19. Here we have a diameter of 0.19. And distance between the center points, we know that. It's 1.5. And we also know a distance to the bottom. We'll put that over here. That's 0.375. Okay. Get that one over here too. Okay, now we need to work on the placement of these holes in our drawing. We know that they're going to show up in this location and in this location. So we're going to dimension this so that we can see it. Accept. So right now we know that they have to go in between these two lines. So what that means is we want that hole to be exactly halfway between here and here, or half of 0.71. So we're going to dimension the center point of that hole to here. We want that dimension to be half this distance. To do that, we're going to select this, and we're going to divide it by 2. We selected the 0.71, that's dimension 42, or D42, and we're going to identify that we're dividing it by 2. Hit enter, and that's going to place our hole halfway between those two lines. Our other hole is going to follow because we've already entered that dimension. Okay, that finishes the sketch of those two holes. We're going to rotate here, and we'll extrude those to depth. Checking our drawing, our depth on those two holes is 0.75. Extrude. Here, 0.75, we're going to switch that to a cut. Direction 2, click OK. Alright, that is the actuator control panel. You could do those holes using the hole tool. It might be a little bit easier to do it with a sketch.